let's have a touch on sectionals and why they are so important, given that's something that you spend a lot of time doing.
Yep. Yeah, well, as most people know, I do the 600 metre sectionals for NZTR, post them on the NZ or the Love Racing site, and it takes about an hour, 2 hours to work those out, sometimes long, depending on how many horses there are. I think the biggest thing I find with sectionals is you can work out the tempo of the race, which horses finish on well from the back in a slowly run race. Watch out for those next start. Horses on the pace that'll work too hard and falling back. Always watch out for that kind of thing. There's so much you can go into with sectionals, but the biggest thing is it gives you the factual information to work out which horses were favoured, which horses were not.
And how do you know which were favoured and which were not as such? So do you have, there's like a set sort of time allocation for a sectional that you know, well, they've obviously gone too hard here too early, so that's going to cost them in the back end of the race, that sort of thing?
Yeah, good question. Often on the day it's good to compare the sectionals from, say you have 3 1200 metre races on a good track at Ellerslie, and the first 2 races go out in 36 seconds and come home in 34, and the third one goes out in 34 and comes home in 36. Rounded figures obviously, but you can work out that last race, they've gone out hard, so any horse that can stick on well is worthwhile watching out for next start. And those first 2 races, going out in 36 and coming home in 34, likely to favour on-pace runners, and anything finishing on from the back in a good sectional, if they've got the proven form next start up. So much comes into it, it's just really good, useful, factual information, I find.
The GOAT, you use sectionals?
Yeah, I look at Neil's sectionals, and obviously horses finishing off on a slow tempo, it's pretty hard to make ground from the back when the leaders have had an easy time up front. And like Neil says, if you're a leader, you've gone out too hard, you're into oxygen debt, and if you can stick on pretty well, even you might run 3rd or 4th, but you're the only leader that's finished up near the winner, it's a sign of a good run.
Yeah.
It's a bit like you at the gym, Luke. If you do too much early, you haven't got any energy left later on. So it's about timing your run. And jockeys, the key is obviously to get that sectional. If you're on a leader, you want an easy first sectional, so you've got energy to sprint home. And conversely, if you're on a back runner, you're needing the leaders to go hard, so they've used up energy, so you can get over the top of them.
In the gym I'll stay all day, but other areas I've been known to sort of get through a couple of poorly run sectionals early on. But so when the trainers are emailing people very quickly after a race saying, making excuses about sectionals, are they? Do you think they can just tell that from in the moment, or are they?
I think jockeys...
Is the access to that sectional information available very quickly?
Yeah, like say jockeys will know the feel of the race.
Okay.
But you can see in races jockeys have got a good tight grip. Normally that'll be at a moderate tempo and favour horses on pace. But if all the riders are whacking their horses well out and trying to persuade their horses well out, they will indication they've gone pretty hard. You know, so.
I remember when we were in Darwin, obviously we got to spend a bit of time with some professional punters, and I know that with one of them, basically we were watching the Singapore race, and he knew after I think 400 metres we were no chance.
Yeah.
And he called it straight away basically, didn't he, and said, look...
You can tell.
Yeah.
So you see in Singapore and Hong Kong, they have the sectionals come up in the graphics in the top right-hand corner. So if they go their first 400 and say 21, 22 from a standing start, leaving the barriers, they've expended too much energy, and they haven't. If you're on a leader, you've gone too hard, you've run your race, and you're not going to be able to finish it off. So, yep, sectionals definitely have a huge part to play.
Maybe even more important are the race times. If the race time was very slow compared to other classes on the race, that gives you a good guide to how good the field was generally. Then you can look back at the sectionals and work out which horses were favoured and dig deeper.
One of your pearls is if a 2-year-old can run a similar time, say over a 1200 as the older horses or the rating 72s, you know that 2-year-old's not a bad horse if it can run similar times.
Yeah.
1200s generally they're running pretty solidly the whole way. It's staying races they can really dawdle in front if a leader gets a very cheap sectional as they say, and the times can vary. But
you might remember that Stratocaster that won at New Plymouth that time. He'd done the race times and his sectionals leading up to it showed that he was a great bet and great value. So it gives you the confidence to have a decent bet on a horse when you know that information is available.